Mr. Chairman and members of the board, today we offer a monumental opportunity for the Board of Regents to make history, to think bold and big, to expand educational and health opportunities in South Texas beyond what we envision in the framework.
Once in a great while, if we are very, very privileged, we have the individual and collective opportunity to make a profound difference in the world.
This is literally about saving lives. This is literally about the future of America.
It is a rare opportunity where the stars are aligned for us to do something that's not been able to be done in 100 years.
Today, the students of South Texas are able to stay closer to home to earn their college degrees. This area of the state is critical to our state's future, and our investments in the children of South Texas will return to us 1,000-fold.
This is a life changer for the next 100 years in the Rio Grande Valley. Yesterday, Chairman Powell and the Board of Regents unanimously approved this vision and granted me the authority to work with the legislature and to talk to the public, to talk to you, to establish a new university that includes UT Brownsville, UT Pan American, and the future School of Medicine.
So with that, members, I move adoption, and I ask for your unanimous support and a record vote, as we do need 2/3 vote. Thank you.
Members, record vote has been requested. A record vote is granted. The clerk will please ring the bell. Show Chairman Oliveira voting aye. They've all voted. There being 136 ayes, no nays, the bill is finally passed to third reading.
Good morning, and welcome to the campus of the University of Texas Pan American. Today, is an amazing day for this university, the city of Edinburgh, and the entire Rio Grande Valley. A day that we've anticipated for some time. A day when we can finally come together to celebrate the birth, the literal birth, of a new university that will transform the valley and indeed the entire state of Texas. That birth would never have taken place without these people on this stage, and so many of you in this audience. It took an entire state, 149 state representatives, 30 senators, mayors from throughout the valley, 3 executive vice chancellors, county judges, a governor, 10 regents, a chancellor, a chairman of the board, a president at UT Brownsville, a chancellor with a bold vision, It took all of them to deliver this new child, this new university, or as I'm fond of calling it, UTTBED, to be determined. All of us here at Pan Am are thrilled and humbled to be part of the creation of this new university. When Chancellor Francisco Cigarroa proposed the creation of a new bicultural, biliterate, bilingual university that would be a gateway to the Americas, he had faith. He had faith in the Rio Grande Valley. He had faith in our students. He had faith in the Board of Regents. He had faith in the legislature. He had faith that we could make this happen, and it has happened. We did it. On July 10th, for the first time, $40 million was allotted from the Permanent University Fund for the Valley. I was only given 3 minutes to speak, and my staff told me that I was not allowed to cry. So I want to introduce you to some of the mothers and the fathers of this new university. Governor Rick Perry. Congressman Ruben Hinojosa. Senator Juan Chuy Hinojosa. Senator Eddie Lucio. Senator Judith Zaffirini. Okay, I only have 3 minutes, and you're using a lot of my minutes with this clapping, okay? So I'm just going to name all of the House up here, and we'll clap for them all at once after I've got them all through, okay? So, Terry Canales, Bobby Guerra, Mando Martinez, Sergio Munoz, Oscar Longoria, Eddie Lucio III. Now let's clap for them. And above all, one of the authors of the bill and the person that helped us get it through the House, Renee Olivera. And how did I miss Ryan Guillen? Ryan. I hope I got you all this time. Also up here is our new regent from the Valley, Judge Ernie Aliceda. Next to him, Regent Brenda Pejovich. Our most important regent of all, a Westlake boy and native, Chairman Gene Powell. And the person who had this dream and knew that it would happen, and helped it happen. Our esteemed Chancellor Francisco Cigarroa. Judge Ramon Garcia is up here also. We've got a lot of elected officials out here in the audience. We're grateful for all of you coming here today. Thank you all so much for joining us this morning, and especially thank you all for all you've done to ensure the bright future of the young people of the Rio Grande Valley. Who knew that it would take this many people to birth a baby? I'm sure that the doctors who have guaranteed us over 150 residencies out there would say you don't need this many people to birth a baby. Well, I would say back to the doctors, what a baby it is. Will this new university succeed? Well, the Rio Grande Valley Partnership is certain that it will succeed. They already have endowed, and there will be a check signing today, the first scholarships to this new university. I challenge all of you businesses out there, all of you chambers out there, all of you, match that grant. Come forward with money for our students, for our future. Would Julian Alvarez and the partnership please stand up so that we can applaud you for what you've done for our students? While we are here today to look to the future, I'd like to take just a minute to pay homage to those who came before us and laid the foundation upon which this new university is being built. Since its founding some 87 years ago as Edinburgh Junior College, UT Pan American has itself seen numerous rebirths. As Edinburgh Regional College, Pan American College, Pan American University, and finally, in 1989, the University of Texas Pan American. Throughout the decades, this evolution has always been deliberate, and each time has brought greater resources to the Valley and has helped thousands and thousands of more students. And now, all of the efforts of our phenomenal faculty will help to provide a strong foundation for the new university that will not only have statewide impact, but global impact. And as we begin to write the final chapter for UT Pan Am, an institution that I love, I want to recognize the great leadership of the university's first 7 presidents, especially Dr. Ralph Schilling, my good friend Miguel Navarez, and my good friend Dr. Blandina Cardenas. They guided us through a progressive era where we got better and better and better. Their contributions will be long remembered, as will the name, the University of Texas Pan American. We'll be lifting that name, if I can use a sports analogy, up to the rafters. But Pan Am, we will always love you, and we will always keep you in our hearts. Now, as we turn our back to the future, let me welcome to the podium a native son of the Rio Grande Valley, UT Board of Regents Chairman Gene Powell, a man of courage, a man who has the faith that I talked about just a little while ago in you, in the Valley, and in our future. Chairman.
Thank you, Robert. Thank all of you all for being here this morning. This is truly a monumentous day for the people of the Rio Grande Valley and the people of Texas. We are here to celebrate the establishment of a new university, a new medical school, a new beginning in the Rio Grande Valley, and to let you know how quickly we are moving to seal our commitment to you. This new institution is a result of an intense collective effort by many supporters of higher education in this region, including educators, elected officials, business and community leaders, parents, students, and the entire families at UT Pan American and at UT Brownsville. We thank all of you all for being here today. Your enormous generosity, your guiding spirit in encouraging us to provide an outstanding college education and first-class medical education for a new generation of Texans is much appreciated. Let me say that without doubt, we could not have done this without all of you. And next, before I go on with any other thanks, I have to thank one man in the room without whom this would not have happened. We are deeply honored that Governor Perry is here today to give us his support for this new university and for this new medical school. The governor understands the importance of this institution to the health, education, and economic growth of the region and to Texas. We thank him for his great and strong support, and he knows that it's a monumental undertaking. But I want to tell you that for almost as long as I've known him, he has talked about this region and the need to improve the welfare of South Texas, improve the health of South Texas, to improve the education of South Texas. Neither one of us, as we talked, have known, and you'll hear this a number of times today, how we were going to do it. But he never failed to plant that seed in my mind. Go to South Texas, go home, and do well. Make us proud and improve the lives of the people in South Texas. So, Governor Perry, we want to thank you again today for your great leadership and your encouragement and your support. The overwhelming approval of the Texas Legislature to pass a bill in support of higher education in the Valley and the signing of that bill by Governor Perry represents all regions of this state coming together to recognize how crucial the health of South Texas is to the health of Texas. Our legislators, our partners in this endeavor, from both the Texas Senate and the Texas House, have already been recognized by President Nelson. But on behalf of the University of Texas Board of Regents, I want to thank each of them for their commitment, their leadership, and their never say die attitude in working toward passage of this bill. Thank you from the University of Texas. Improving higher education and medical education in South Texas and the Valley has been a personal mission of mine for many years. I grew up in Weslaco. I'm a proud native son of the Rio Grande Valley. My paternal grandfather moved to Mercedes in 1919 with a degree in pharmacy from UTMB. He went there to manage a drugstore. In the early 20s, when they cut Weslaco out of the brush, he and my grandmother drove that 5 miles on dusty roads to Weslaco. There were 3 or 4 senderos cut in the brush, and they picked out a lot for their house and a lot for their drugstore. And that's where they made their home. And in that home that he built in 1923 is where I grew up. In 1941, my mother, who was a native of Mercedes, Congressman Hinojosa, graduated from high school. And this story will sound familiar to many of us today. She could not go to college. The end of the Depression was upon us, but they had lived through that Depression. She could not afford to go off to school. So what did she do? She got on the bus every day, and she rode to Edinburgh, where she got a degree from Edinburgh Junior College. And at 90 years old, Mom told me that if she could figure out how to click on that webcast thing this morning, she'd watch us, but she didn't know if it'd work or not. I hope you're watching, Mom. She's still very proud of that degree at Diney, and she told me to tell all of you all hi. My ties to the Valley are deep and personal. My parents always believed that the Valley was a magical place and that there was something great going to happen here. And they instilled that faith and that optimism in me. They taught me to dream big, and they always told me that I could be anything I wanted to be, even a UT Regent. And so to speak, I speak today not only as chairman of the Board of Regents, and a graduate of the University of Texas at Austin, but also as your neighbor who was born and raised here. And this new university and medical school is so important to me because it will transform forever the lives of our children and our grandchildren. And in large measure, it will fulfill the dreams of those who have come before us and wanted the best for this part of Texas. The magic that my parents believed in turns out to be higher education. An accessible, affordable, and excellent education is the greatest gift we can give anyone. And today, we celebrate our new ability to provide an outstanding education to any child in South Texas who dares to dream. Last week, the Board of Regents approved guiding principles for this new institution, and we are moving quickly toward implementing those principles and working diligently toward the day that we open the doors on this new institution. Allow me to share some of those guiding principles with you. It is our vision and our commitment to you that this new university will become a national leader in innovation in higher education. This will not be just another university. This will be a university of the 21st century. We are committed to that, and we will make it happen. The new institution will fully integrate next-generation technology, such as very high-quality blended and online learning, to make the education experience more affordable and more accessible for our students, wherever they live in the Valley, the state, or the world. The new institution will have a diverse student body and will immediately be the second largest Hispanic-serving institution in America. And mark it down today, I predict that in a very short time, this will be one of the largest universities in the state, and I believe it will be the largest Hispanic-serving institution in America in a very short time. It will produce leaders who are bicultural, bilingual, and biliterate. It will employ world-class faculty who are both outstanding teachers and outstanding researchers. It will provide greater strength in the STEM fields, science, technology, engineering, and mathematics. It will foster economic and community partnerships to help address local, state, and global issues. It will actively engage with business and industry to create jobs and enhance this region's workforce. It will become the hub for inventions, intellectual property, and all that goes with that, and that will lead to economic and community prosperity. It will serve as a gateway to the Americas. This is an idea that we attribute to President Garcia and President Nelson. They ask us, do not aim too low. Let's be a gateway to the Americas. And the board has embraced that, and the Chancellor has embraced it. We want to cultivate partnerships with international institutions, global leaders in higher education, and strategic high-growth industries around the world. The new School of Medicine will help address the physician shortage in the state and will increase biomedical research, provide more opportunities for residents in the Valley to become physicians and healthcare professionals, and it will improve the economic vibrancy of the region. And now, in going through the list of guiding principles, the point of the speech that we all have waited for, this new institution will be fully eligible to participate in the permanent university fund. The University of Texas and Texas A&M were graciously granted 2 million acres in West Texas 130 years ago. The legislature, in its wisdom before the Civil War, gave us a bunch of land in East Texas, but people thought that might be too valuable for farming, so after the Civil War and after Reconstruction, they decided to give us this 2.1 million acres out west where there were nothing but tumbleweeds. In 1926, the Santa Rita No. 1 came in, and the rest is history. So we are blessed, and we are blessed that our forefathers saw fit to give us this wonderful asset. We have not previously been able to share it with University of Texas Brownsville or University of Texas Pan American, but today, through the work of everyone in this audience and everyone on this stage, we now can do that. And in fact, last Wednesday's board meeting, for the first time ever in the history of the University of Texas, I looked at my script. I had University of Texas Brownsville and permanent university funds in the same sentence. So for the past several years, my fellow regents and I have talked about planting a bigger UT flag in South Texas. We have been encouraged by the governor and in a lot of our friends from South Texas. But we never knew how we were going to do that. The Chancellor in 2011 began in the summer of that year writing what has become known as his framework for the advancement of excellence. He called me one day during that summer and he said, "What do you think about my putting South Texas in the framework as one of our primary goals?" I said, "You know what I think about it." He said, "I thought you thought that," and it's in there. So August the 25th, 2011, the board voted unanimously to support the Chancellor's framework. And in that framework is the South Texas plan. But we didn't know at the time what the plan was. And we still didn't know for a long time. The Chancellor, in his way, was determined to make this work. He came to the Valley. He had Vista Summits. Many of you all in the audience were there at those meetings, those all-day town meetings about what we could do in South Texas. We still had a problem of not having the money. The chancellor kept calling his staff in and kept saying, how are we going to take PUF money to the valley? He and I would talk at night and come up with a scheme, and he would present it to the staff. The lawyers would then say, we hope you guys have a deck of cards because you're both going to jail if you do that. So we would go back to the drawing board. One day in the fall of 2012, one of our really smart lawyers, Steve Collins, raised his hand in the back of one of the chancellor's meetings and said, I have an idea. The chancellor called me that night, and you remember the chancellor goes about every 3 weeks and does surgery in San Antonio, so he was finishing up surgery, I think. I don't know exactly what he was doing, but he called me at 11:55 on a Saturday night. He does this fairly often. And he said, I have an idea. Came from Steve Collins. And the next hour and a half, we talked about it. And what came out of that conversation is what we're here to celebrate today. I give you that background and that information as a lead-up to introduce to you the man who led this effort, a native of Laredo, graduate of Yale and Southwestern Medical School, graduate of an intense surgical residency at Harvard, back to Johns Hopkins to teach, and then to San Antonio as a surgeon, and then for 9 years president of the University of Texas Health Science Center in San Antonio. He has been my constant companion in this effort. He has led it daily. As I've gone back to San Antonio and tried to do some work between his phone calls, he's been there every day leading this effort. I want you to welcome a native son of South Texas, the Chancellor of the University of Texas, Dr. Francisco Cigarroa.
Well, Mr. Chairman, thank you for that wonderful introduction. Well, like you, Mr. Chairman, I have a personal commitment to this new university and to the School of Medicine. Laredo may seem like a long drive from here, but we are very much a part of the border region that encompasses the Rio Grande Valley. We have many things in common. We have 2 cultures, 2 languages, a long history of commerce and family ties on both sides of the Rio Grande. When I'm here in this beautiful valley, I feel very much at home. In fact, the very first operation I ever saw in my entire life was with Dr. Mario Ramirez in his small hospital in Roma, Texas. Mario? Well, this is the source of my personal commitment and why I'm so grateful to be here today. Chairman Powell, I also join you in thanking Governor Rick Perry for his outstanding support for this new University of Texas institution. Governor, we are enormously honored by your presence here. It is a privilege to share the stage with you. It's a privilege to work with you every day. Your signing of legislation to establish this university in the Valley is an act of your immense commitment towards students who will study here, who will train here, who will do leading science here, and save lives for decades to come. This institution, this new university, will forever be a part of your legacy, Governor Perry. And because this will be a bilingual university, Gobernador, muchas gracias por su apoyo y su amistad. Well, I also share Chairman Powell's gratitude to the Texas legislators who have supported the creation of this new university and medical school. You have joined in partnership with the University of Texas system. Your colleagues in the legislature from all across Texas and the governor to lay the foundation of the new University of Texas institution. To our legislative leadership, mil gracias. Thank you very much. Well, where are we in the process now? Well, let me share some updates.
a transition team led by the University of Texas System Office of Academic Affairs in coordination with President Robert Nelson and President Julieta Garcia, has already begun planning and developing the new university. And let me just stop for a few moments to praise President Robert Nelson and Julieta Garcia for being deeply engaged in this process, for consulting with their communities, and for sharing their wisdom and insights with us. Their leadership has been nothing less than extraordinary during this transition, and I ask everyone to join me in thanking President Nelson and Julieta Garcia. So I recall that conversation that I had with Chairman Powell, and we both instantly became engaged, but he said, Francisco, before you proceed with any of this vision, I want you to speak individually with President Garcia and President Nelson, because they need to fully embrace this. So when I remember conveying this first to Julieta, Julieta looked back at me and said, you know, Chancellor, I have been praying for this day for many, many years. I've been praying that you would reach this conclusion. And a tear came out of her eye. And then Robert Nelson said, Chancellor, this will save our children. And so I gave instant feedback to our chairman, and with the engagement and the affirmation by President Garcia and President Nelson, we fully became on board and engaged to work our legislative leadership in the community. The transition team will also collaborate with faculty and staff, campus-based work groups, and expert consultants to focus on building a model university for the 21st century. Over the next several months, that team and I will create more opportunities for public involvement and open dialogue with stakeholders throughout this beautiful region to share what you imagine this university can be and how it can transform the Valley and have a global impact. So what do we need to do to get from here to there? We have some answers at this time, but not all of them. This is a work in progress, but let me mention a few major dates in our timeline and explain how you can become more involved in the process. First and foremost, we intend to open the doors of the new university to students in the fall of 2015 with its defined leadership. The medical school, authorized by the statute in 2009, was already in development prior to the proposal to create this new university, but the search for a founding dean is already underway, and we hope to admit the first students in the fall of 2016. Next month, I will begin holding town hall meetings with faculty, staff, students, and community leaders across the Valley. It is critically important that all stakeholders voice their opinions and concerns and take an active role in shaping the institution that we will build together. In Shakespeare's Romeo and Juliet, Juliet asks, what's in a name? Well, for us, it is a very important question. I promise you, we will be working with many stakeholders to field suggestions, and we hope to announce the new name by the end of this year. Now, if you look around this room, you'll see banners and balloons saying Project South Texas. That is a temporary name for UT system-led initiatives regarding the new university and medical school. But I do want you to visit the www.projectsouth.texas.com website to get updates and additional information, including timelines and answers to your questions. It will be a comprehensive website that will maintain real-time information for you about all the progress that is underway. There are also a number of questions about what will happen to UT Brownsville and UT Pan Am when the new university opens its doors. Well, let me outline a few important points. The assets and the resources from the current institutions will be brought together and become a part of the new university. In fact, it is my expectation that these two campuses will grow with this new university. During this transition process, UT Brownsville and UT Pan Am faculty and its members and its staff and administrators will also continue their current university responsibilities of advancing excellence every day. Students admitted to or currently enrolled at UT Brownsville or UT Pan Am will be automatically admitted to the new university when it opens. Transcripts, course credits, degree plans, and so forth will be transitioned appropriately as the new university takes shape, and the degrees previously conferred by UT Brownsville and UT Pan American will remain with alumni for their entire lives, as they are so wonderful and valued. The new university will award academic degrees under its new name for graduates starting in December of 2015. And initially, the new university will use again the existing facilities of UT Brownsville and UT Pan Am. However, academic and student support, research, and health education, including administration, will take place all over the Rio Grande Valley. Faculty members will work with the UT system-led transition team over the next 18 months to determine the new and exciting degree programs to be offered at the new university. And then, with regards to gifts from donors, the UT system and the new university will honor the donors' wishes as prescribed in their previous gift agreements and communicate with each donor to ensure that their intent is honored. I want to assure the people of the Rio Grande Valley that we at the University of Texas System hear your voices and respect your recommendations and perspectives. This is your university, this is your School of Medicine, and we welcome your input. But you don't have to wait for town hall meetings to become involved. You can add your voices now by visiting our Project South Texas website. Twitter is also going to be available. This website is your best resource for information, and I assure you that we will read every message. Well, as the chairman stated, what became an idea less than a year ago has now been approved and funded by the UT System Board of Regents, passed overwhelmingly, in fact, unanimously by the Texas Legislature, and signed into law by Governor Rick Perry. A great new University of Texas institution is underway here in the Rio Grande Valley, and we are taking bold and we're taking decisive steps towards this special day only 2 years from now, when the doors open to an even brighter future for the students and families of this great region of Texas. From the bottom of my heart, I want to thank you very much to the students, to the faculty members, to the staff, to the parents, and the alumni, and everyone in the community for your support of this exciting new era of higher education in South Texas and the Valley. We truly love you, and we're going to make you proud. Saludos.
Chancellor, as I said, thank you for having faith in us, faith in the Valley, and faith in the future. We appreciate it. We now have 2 students to speak to you. One who is the current Student Government Association president, and another student who hopes to be able to go and be one of the first students admitted into the new medical school. Aaron Barrero is a president of student government. He is in his 3rd year. He hopes to graduate. He better graduate in May 2015. He's a member of the Alpha Lambda Delta Freshman Honor Society, the Guerra Honor Society, the Rio Grande Valley Community Dreamers, and this summer he's interning with the Parent Family Association. He wants to be a pediatrics surgeon, and he will be an excellent one. He is a great leader. Aaron, please come forward. And this is the difference. He's using his iPad.
Good morning, everyone. Thank you, Dr. Nelson, for that great introduction. 3 or 4 years back, if you ask my best friend, Eric Sanchez, he would be the first to tell you that back then I would have discouraged anyone from staying here in the Valley. And when I would say that, he would give me this look, shake his head, and we'd go on from there. And at that time, I didn't understand what that look meant. It's amazing, after 2 years at the University of Texas Pan American, how much my perspective has changed. I've had an amazing experience here, and the opportunities that I have in front of me today are because of this university. And I believe that's what this merger is going to bring to the students of UTPA, of the University of Texas Brownsville, and everyone of this community. It's going to bring to us hope and a positive mindset, a new kind of mindset that we really have never seen before. And that look that he would give me back then said that there's so much potential here in this area, and he was disappointed that I couldn't see it then and that I wouldn't see it then. And he was right, because there is a lot of potential here that's been unrealized and that's been taken advantage of for so long. But with the merging of UTPA, UTB, and the Harlingen Medical School, really, that potential is being realized today. The opportunities for careers in all fields are going to be growing, and that means that tomorrow's students of this new university are going to be able to stay here in the Valley and be happy and have hope. And here at UTPA, that makes the student government excited and thrilled, because what we do here is we serve our students, today's students and tomorrow's students. And it excites us knowing that we're creating leaders of this world who are going to be coming back to represent our very own community. And as you've heard from the speakers before, none of this is possible without all the people sitting here on the stage. So from the University of Texas Pan American Student Government, we would like to thank Chancellor Cigarroa, Chairman Powell, and the Board of Regents for their vision of this new university. All the legislators who helped pass the bill, our very own Governor, Rick Perry, for coming down and making South Texas a priority, all the donors and members of the community who have come out and made this a reality, and finally, our very own Robert Nelson and Dr. Garcia from the University of Texas Brownsville for their drive and determination. As you said, President Nelson, somos familia, and from now on, that family has gotten a lot bigger. So before I introduce our next speaker, I just want to remind us all of one thing. The next few years, a lot of tough decisions are going to be made, and we can't allow ourselves to get caught up in them. My dad always tells me that we have to enjoy the moment that we're in. A lot of things are going to be changing in a very big way, which is fitting for Texas. And we really do have to make sure that we appreciate it and keep moving strong. So thank you very much. And now, to introduce our next speaker, we have Andrew Abraham from South Texas High School for Health Professions. And she's looking to come and settle in the Valley. She's from the Middle East. And hopefully in the future, she'll be one of the very first medical students at our Harlingen Medical School and become a great anesthesiologist. So, thank you.
So, good morning. I'd like to start off by thanking all the members of Project South Texas and the South Texas Independent School District for not only giving me the opportunity to stand before you, but also the opportunity to input my voice into something that will not only affect us, but the entire Rio Grande Valley. My interest in medicine was sparked by the school that I currently attend, the South Texas High School for Health Professions, also known as MedHigh. And the various classes that they offer based on medicine has truly opened my eyes and furthered my interest in becoming an anesthesiologist. Looking at the statistics, it only makes sense to build a medical school here, but we're more than just numbers. If this project didn't exist, I would have no other choice but to leave my friends, to leave my family, to leave this community, to realize my dream. And this doesn't just apply to me, of course. This applies to the students at Met High. This applies to the students in SDISD. This applies to all the students in the entire valley. With this new school, we now have the option of not only staying with our family and friends, but we have the option to better serve this community. This project is amazing in that it opens up so many new doors. And I thank everyone involved for all of your effort in passing this legislation and giving me something exciting to look forward to. And it's not just me. They have given all of us something exciting to look forward to. Thank you for your time.
She's only a sophomore. I know the faculty that are out there are salivating right now, thinking, I'm going to get to teach her. It'll be wonderful. And the moment we've been waiting for, to hear from our governor. When he had the courage to put in his State of the State address, South Texas, he was planting a flag for us. He was saying that he cared about us. He was sending a strong message to the entire state and to the delegation. Let's get this done. A man of courage, a man of wisdom, our elected governor, Rick Perry.
Thank you. Thank you. Robert, thank you very much. Planting flags, that's a good introduction and a good place to start off this conversation. For too many years, the border region of the state of Texas was kind of a thought that just kind of came and went. And in 1990, I came here as a young boy asking to be the agriculture commissioner for the state of Texas. And there were people, Mayor Salinas, who started my, well, continuing my education, if you will, about the Rio Grande Valley, about the border region of Texas. Wayne Showers, whose lovely wife Reba is here with us today. Individuals who grew up in the valley, who understood the dynamic of this place, who understood the potential of this place. Aaron, as we think about that vision, and you've talked about that someone helped you be able to see the future. Jonathan Swift said that to look over the horizon and to see the future was truly what vision is all about. And today is a culmination of a way, maybe it's a milestone on this journey that the valley is taking. But it's one that I want to look backwards for just a few moments and talk about how we find ourselves at this particular moment in time. And it was all of those people who came before, who planted a flag, who were willing to march forward, to die upon a hill, if that's a metaphorical way to talk about it, from time to time. They believed with all their heart that this place, this Rio Grande Valley, could reach a potential that a lot of people couldn't see. when I had the great privilege to serve as your lieutenant governor. A boy who had grown up in a relatively small farming community, who for 8 years had seen the valley from the agriculture commissioner's perspective and the great potential that was here, and working with these men and women in the legislature. I mean, amazingly capable partners. As we talked together about how do we get this state to focus on this region that for too long has been overlooked. And Senator Lucio served as that first chairman of the Border Affairs Committee. We started talking, Senator Zaffarini, about the health care, about the transportation infrastructure, about the education that had been for too long overlooked in the state, in this region. And we made a difference. And I want to tip my hat to Chuy, to Renee, to Eddie, for understanding the power of vision and implementing programs. And as the Chancellor and I said as an aside earlier, it's one thing, in talking about the Permanent University Fund, it's one thing to have the vision. It's also another thing to help that vision along with the money. And these individuals understood that. Alonzo, you think about the dollars that have come to the Valley over the last decade in particular, whether it's transportation infrastructure, whether it's education, whether it's been in healthcare, whether it's been in the passing of that very sweeping tort reform where physicians now find this Valley a very friendly place where they get to practice their medicine every day, do what they love. What has happened in this region of the state is nothing less than phenomenal, not just from my perspective, but for those of you who live here. The third thing that helped in the continuing education of your governor was in a Starr County event. Dr. Ramirez, who had invited me to come and speak to his scholars program, these best and brightest that you all have been preparing to go on and make higher education a real possibility, a reality in their lives, to change their lives forever. And I will forever be thankful for his invitation to come and speak to those kids, to share with them the opportunities. Before we started, there were a dozen of them who he had, the creme de la creme, if you will, the top of this group, who I met with privately, and we talked about their future and the opportunities. And I asked, how many of you are going to school in Texas? 2 of that dozen. One was going to Baylor, one was going to Rice. And certainly 2 great Texas institutions. The others were going to Brown and to Harvard and to Yale and to Princeton and to Stanford. And that moment was when I made the real commitment that we're going to give young men and women in the Rio Grande Valley some other options rather than going out of state to somewhere else. We wanted them to stay in this part of the state. We wanted them to be able to stay here because we knew the potential was vast. We knew the vision for the future was in the creation of an institution where they could not just dream some dreams, but every dream could become a reality right here. And that this epicenter,
this place between the Americas, if you will, can be and will be the epicenter of economic growth in America that I will suggest will change the Northern Hemisphere forever. That's what we have the potential to do here. The list is long of men and women who have been a part of this, going back well before the 1990s and the continuing education of this governor. Veronica, it was you and your House members, Aaron Pena, Roberto Gutierrez. I mean, you all that came before who were committed every day. It's those of you who serve in non-elected positions but are just as much a part of this Rio Grande Valley. The chairman of the Department of Public Safety, Cindy, thank you. The power of this area in the state, I will suggest to you over the last decade, has had the opportunity because men and women on this stage and in this audience understood that for that vision to become a reality, there had to be sacrifice. And these men and women have made that sacrifice. They have labored in the vineyard. Someday in the not too distant future, we will open a very good vintage and enjoy the fruits of that labor that these young men and women who will be the leaders of America and the leaders of North America and of the world because of your vision, because of your shared sacrifice. To this university, to the administration of this university, to those of you, Robert and Julian, for you to truly exhibit great vision is a testament to this valley, a testament to what higher education can be and shall be for this state and for this nation. Thank you. I've had some wonderful moments as the governor of the greatest state in the nation. I will suggest to you in approximately 30 seconds one of the greatest moments in my governorship. We'll be able to put pen to paper to this piece of legislation. God bless you and thank you all.
Chairman, Chancellor, Regents, the administration down here first, and then we're going to do the second of all of the legislation.
Dr. Nelson. Dr. Nelson.
Right here.
Dr. Nelson.
we could get all of the legislative delegation around here for a photo.
I talked to you. You talk better. Are you going to be in the office? No.
And who? We have a reception that will be taking place over in the ballroom shortly. There's also a reception out in the foyer. At this point, it is time to hang Pan Am's name in the rafters. But it's a time to celebrate. And I want to take just a personal moment to thank Jody Nelson, my wife. She gave up her career as a vice president for business affairs to come here, to be with us, to be part of this valley. Y yo digo todo el tiempo que somos familia. And Aaron stole my line that we're a bigger family now. But we are. Y como siempre, seguimos adelante. We'll move forward, onward, and upward. Congratulations to everybody. Thanks to the Student Government Association from Pan Am. Thanks to the Student Government Association from UT Brownsville. We're all grateful for everything you've done. Let's go celebrate.